Hey everybody, welcome to Lowry Writes. Okay, I just finished homeschooling tonight. I know it's a little later, but Michelle DeRosier and we just had a live session on her YouTube channel, and we were talking about book launches. So I had to take a break between homeschool and then pop back and finish up math, and now I'm back. And I have got a bunch of books around me and behind me and everywhere because I want to share with you guys what my top 10 favorite books are of all time. And then I want to talk about other books that I loved at different points of my life, but they moved off of the list. But I do have a permanent list. I have books that I will not move. There are non-negotiables. They are staying there forever. So I will start with the number one. So I bet you guys already know what my number one favorite book is. I will go ahead and reveal that one to you. It is in this case that a student, Ebony, that I tutored, she got me this as a present. It is very special for me. It has Amazing Grace written there, and that is my son's favorite song. It's also in Sweet Potato. They sing Amazing Grace. So inside my Bible bag, I also have kept all of the CDs that I used to sing when I used to sing in church. So you know how you'd have to go get the CD blank ones. So I have them all here. And I have to keep them right in this Bible bag. And they have the lyrics with them because when I would get up to sing, I would get so nervous. And so I would have to have them here. Oh, Resurrection Morn by the Perry Sisters. Right there. That's one of my favorite songs ever. Okay, but we're talking about favorite books, right? And so here it is. This is my favorite book of all time. And it has my mom's name engraved in it. And I just want to let you guys know that the Bible is going to be my number one, non-negotiable for the rest of my life, number one book of all time. And specifically, if I move outside of the Bible app, which I will frequently use the Bible app on the go, but this is my King James Version. And even on the Bible app, I use the King James Version. I was just raised up reading that version. I'm fine with, the NIV, but I just love the King James Version. Okay, so book number 2 on my list. Let me find it. I know I should have ordered these ahead of time. It's right here. Fahrenheit 451, Ray Bradbury. Now, Ray Bradbury also wrote The Sound of Thunder short story that I love. But I love Fahrenheit 451. So not only have I had the opportunity to teach this book in the public school, I've also had an opportunity to teach this book to my son. With my son, we read it together for homeschool. And when he read it, it became one of his top 10 books of all time, which his list has 1984, Animal Farm. It has Fahrenheit, All Quiet on the Western Front. So I'm like, wait, there's a pattern here. So Fahrenheit 451, that's number 2. Okay, so number 3. I am now experiencing, and I don't know how I missed this growing up, but I am experiencing the love of Tolkien, his language, and the Lord of the Rings. So The Hobbit is my favorite. It is number 3. And I will let you guys know that anytime that I go to a used bookstore and any place, thrift store, and I see used Hobbits, I'm grabbing them and I carry them around in my car. Because if I find out that someone has not read The Hobbit, I'm then saying, you need a Hobbit. If I'm at a book signing, if they don't want to buy my book, I'm okay. Just, you need a Hobbit. So I love The Hobbit. And I experienced this for the first time with my youngest son, Sam. And when we read The Hobbit together, it like stuck to our heart. Fingerprints on the heart, y'all. And we just finished The Fellowship of the Ring last Friday. And so now we're in book 2. And we are finishing up that series. We just started book 2. I think we're on page 42 tonight. So ask me what I'm reading for homeschool. And I'm reading the rest of the Lord of the Rings trilogy work. But The Hobbit, guys, The Hobbit is on my list because that's where it all began for me. Okay, number 4. I want to let you guys know that this book right here, A Walk to Remember, is permanently going to be on my list for the rest of my life too. This is book number 4. It is not moving off, and I will tell you why. 1, I love the story of Jamie. I love Jamie and Landon's relationship. I love it. I taught this to seniors before, but it's more than just the story itself. It's the story behind the story. So I do want to share with you guys that Nicholas Sparks, he lives in North Carolina, and he came to the university where I graduated from. He came to UNC Pembroke, and he was doing like a book tour or signings or, doing his big author thing. And he had a speaking engagement there, and I went. I went with my aunt, and I went with my teacher assistant. Miss Jo is there, and Miss Jo is the one who actually kind of, introduced me to Nicholas Sparks. So thank you to Miss Jo. I love her so much. She was my SPED assistant. So, but she was just a teacher. Don't think of it like that at all. I shouldn't have even called her that because she was phenomenal with me side by side. You walk in, you should not be able to tell who is who except 2 lovely leaders in a classroom. But Nicholas Sparks, at this event, I knew how much I loved this book, and I listened to his author story. He was the first author that I'd ever had an opportunity to hear speak and to talk about behind the scenes of the author life. And I stood in the line, and I went up to take his picture with him, and I got my picture with him. I've got it in a bend in the road. I use that as like a placeholder because that was the book that I actually had with me. I had left my book at home. And so Miss Jo had an extra book, and she let me get one signed. But I looked at him at that meeting, and I said, "You're the reason why I've started writing again as an adult." And it was because of A Walk to Remember. And after I read this book, I said, so the floodgates opened within me, and I said, I want to do this. I want to figure this out somehow. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what it all means, but I'm going to write. And I wrote and I wrote. And the first books that I wrote, they will not see the light of day. Oh my goodness. They were horrible romances. And I know each one, had its place, and I was building, they're way far removed, trust me. But it was because of A Walk to Remember in my adult life that I was in it and writing. And so this one is going to be number 4. And guys, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I love Sweet Potato. And so having Sweet Potato as the number 5 book, it needs to come after A Walk to Remember. So I just want to let you guys know that this kind of started it all for me, for my business and for my indie publishing side. So without this book by Swoon Romance, thank you, Swoon Romance, for loving Sweet Potato and taking her under, then the rest of my body of work might not be where it is today. So I always want to give credit to Sweet Potato, my girl, for starting that road. Okay, so after Sweet Potato, okay, now I got to go to Beverly right here. Okay, my favorite author of a collection of body of work. Now, I could just start naming out authors that are my favorites. Well, my favorite author is K.D. Camillo, and her books matter. They just matter. So the Three Rancheros, absolutely love that series at middle grades, coming of age. But I'm telling you, Beverly, right here, this one is my favorite of the Three Rancheros series. You have to read them all. I still love Louisiana and Rainy Nightingale. So I'm not saying I don't love them, because I do. But there's something about Beverly that's for me. And I love it so very much. And I love Kate DiCamillo. And I love Because of Winn-Dixie and The Tale of Despero. And I could keep going. The Tiger Rising. And I love, no matter what it is that she produces, her work is just, you guys know, if you've read Kate DiCamillo, what I'm talking about. Her work is just at this solid place that deserves to be on my list forever. And so if I have to pick one of them, now, Because of Winn-Dixie, I'm telling you, I love community. There's something about each one of the books that I can say, I love. But if I had to pick one, it's going to be Beverly right here forever. So that's what I'm going to hold up for Kate DiCamillo, and then talk about everything else of hers, because I actually did an author study of her, and I read 30 of her books all in the same month, and I realized what value that brought to my life. And so, of course, I started then reading James and the Giant Peach. And then I left there and went to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And then I went to Matilda. And then I started going and doing author studies, and then Goosebumps studies, and, looking at collective bodies of work. And I find that to be so amazing for me with my author journey, because, I do write prolifically, but there's something about reading across where you'll start to notice the style, the voice, the way, their tendencies. And maybe one day somebody will read my collection of work and say, I get that. That's a Jen Lowry work. Well, that's Jen Lowry's work. Because I'm sorry, you read Roald Dahl, you'll say that's Roald Dahl. I think Tolkien stands out the same way. All right, so Beverly right here, okay? That one is number 6. Okay, number 7, and number 7 is my lucky number. So I'm going to pull out, the series, but you got to start with Zora and Me. And I'm going to fix this. And you got to go to the cursed ground, okay? But you're going to be ending up with The Summoner, and that's my number 7 book of all time. Zora and Me, The Summoner. And this book, trust me when I say, it is staying on my list forever, because it has opened up my ability to be able to accept some things. And I had, yes, some grief moments while I was reading this book. And I had to deal with that as I was dealing with Zora's grief. And then I dreamed about my family. And then I dreamed about my mom. And this book right here. That's all I'm saying. Go watch the interview. I just interviewed Victoria Bond. And if you want to watch me with Kate DiCamillo and have me talk about how she's my favorite author of all time, and you can see all that, you can go watch that interview too. So, okay. So that one is number 7. Okay. Oh, let me go. Okay. You see this book right here? You got to go get this book, okay? Story of Jumpy Mouse. This is I love children's books. I love middle grades. You can see my collection here. and YA and adult. But this is my favorite children's book of all time. Okay, it is a Native American legend. Okay, now I just want to let you know my children are Native American, and I had an opportunity to find out about this book when I was an undergrad. So I've known this book for a very long time. I'm trying to go see when the book was printed. 1972. And so I was born in 75. I'm dating myself, but when I was in undergrad, we had an assignment, and we had to read 100 books for an elementary education course we were taking under Miss Dixon. Everybody loved Miss Dixon's classes, and I did, and I had to have this. Actually, I had to get a recipe box, and I had to get an index card, and I had to put the title of the book and then a little summary. And I know that in today's world, we would be doing it digital at this point. Probably making a digital portfolio of all the books that we had read. But I found the story of Jumping Mouse, and I read it, and I cried. And when you find a book, a children's book, and you cry, there's a reason why this book needs to be on your shelf forever. Go find this book. I challenge you tonight. The story of Jumping Mouse. I wish I could read it to you guys, but I'm going to let you know right now. If I did, I'd cry every single time. I would read it to my students every single time. Starting from when I worked at Head Start as an intern, doing my volunteer work, I cried. Lord, how many times I had to read 24 robbers coming knocking at my door. And then I would pull out the story of Jumping Mouse, and I would cry. And I get really choked up about it. And I have a copy somewhere, and I don't know where it is. And my mom wrote in it. And I need that book back, okay? So just pray with me that somehow that book will come back to me. Wherever that book is, it'll find its way back. But this is the copy that I got from my children. Each one of them has a copy of this Native American legend. So thank you, John Steptoe. All right, so love it. It is number 8. It's going to stay there forever. All right, so you ready for the next one? Okay. Oh, I got to find it. The last lecture. Where is it? Where's the last lecture? Oh, there you are. Okay, Randy Posh, guys, if you have not read the last lecture, please read this book. It has one of my favorite quotes of all time in it. I can't tell you, like, I went through this book, and of course I cried, but it really just allowed me to hone into the matter, to what matters. I loved his story. And Jeffrey Zaslow also helped put this book together. And right before a podcast interview that I had with Karen Blumenthal, right before she passed away, and she wrote phenomenal YA books in middle grades. She wrote a book about Steve Jobs. She wrote about Roe versus Wade. And she was on the podcast. She wrote Bonnie and Clyde. She wrote about the Prohibition. She's got tons of great work. She was so gifted. She left a wonderful body, a wonderful collection of work. So please go and check out Karen Blumenthal's work. But right before, she asked me about my brick wall. And I told her it was from the last lecture, that it's one of my favorite books of all time, and it's not leaving my list. And she had a moment because she was actually friends with Jeffrey Zaslow. And she had her moment, and she became emotional, and she shared memory with me, and it was just a great time that we had right there between us, talking about his contributions and the book. So the last lecture. On my list forever. And I want you to look, guys. Like, you see all of these up here? Like, these are books that also are like forever in my heart. But I've got to show you. Okay. E.B. White. Okay. And how can you just hold up one? And if I had to, it's so hard that I can just hold up one and I can make it look as if it's just one book. So, look, it's kind of like one book. So you got it. Okay, so Stuart Little. Love Stuart Little. I not only read it with Solomon, but then I read it with Sam, with Solomon, with me. And when I see these babies used, I'll grab them and keep them and pass them out to kids. I love The Adventures of Stuart Little. And at homeschool, we were reading Stuart, and we built a house. And guys, we built it to scale, I will say. And we made it so inviting that the next morning, we go into the kitchen where we had it all set up, and mouse poop was inside of the house that we made. So we actually were reading Stuart Little, and we believed that a mouse was in our house right then and there listening, and said, look what this family made for me. They made me a Stuart house in honor of me. And so the mouse kept making its presence known. So we had a mouse as we were reading Stuart Little. So I will let you know that The Trumpet of the Swan also, if you have not read this one from E.B. White, that I ask you to go and just have that sigh. You heard it. You've heard it. I just did a sigh. I did a breath. Okay, so did I count them all? Yes, I did. Now, I also want to talk about books that I love and I will always love. They're just not on my top 10 list. I probably could make a top 100 list. I will be honest. I could keep going. But I will say the Twilight series, absolutely adore it. Have loved it. And I just finished Midnight Sun in August. I'm sure that if you were a Twilight fan, you have already read Edward's POV. But I will say that one is actually my favorite of the Twilight series. I actually love Midnight Sun. So I thought it was just going to be Eclipse forever. And then Eclipse got switched to Midnight Sun. So I would say that. I loved Outlander series, the Clan of the Cave Bear series when I was younger. My favorite Stephen King. You guys want to know what it is? Let's see. But it's not on my top 10 because these are like my permanents. But this is still there. So, The Talisman. Please, people. Please tell me you've read it. My favorite Stephen King. And when I was 13 years old, I was loving me some Stephen King. And I was reading everything I could. I did want to showcase my husband's favorite series. This is one of the books. He loves Vince Flynn. And my husband has read them all. And he's now rereading them. The same books. And that's great. Because I do the same thing. And that's what I'm going to be doing with Zora and me. I'm going to be going back and I'm going to reread them. I got to move away from it a little bit, but I'm going to come back in to that. Let me see if there's any other ones. Okay, so there's another book that I love, but it's not on my top 10 anymore. The Bronze Bow. That one's actually in the boys' room. Solomon has that one as one of his top 10. So I absolutely love The Bronze Bow. If you've not read that one, please grab that one. Another one. I lost my train of thought. Let me look back here and see. I was going to tell you. It was about the Bronze Bow. What was it? Born Standing Up. Steve Martin. Love this book. That was kind of like my 2019 book of the year. My 2020 book of the year is called Lucky Brilliant by Maureen Shabandi. So you could go and watch that interview. So that's like my 2020 book. I'm trying to see. There was. Yeah, the Steve Martin was my 2019 favorite of that year. So then you can do like your favorites of the year. But I have my top 10, and it's good to write them down because then you can go back. There was another book I was going to tell you that. Well, The Bronze Bow. Oh, I can't believe it. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So I have actually loved teaching that book. And I've taught it in homeschool. I have taught it in public school. I have taught the adapted version for students with special needs, but I've also just taught the Robert Louis Stevenson full version. I love that book. And I also love Dracula, and I'm a Frankenstein fan. So I will say that I love Mary Shelley's work. But if I had to choose from those three classics, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Now, my husband is going to go with Dracula. And what he wants, we look for it every time we go. He wants a hardback of a Dracula. So I'm looking for one for him that's really nice. I'm going to try to surprise him for his birthday. But I will say that the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, that's one of my favorites. I'm trying to think if there's any other list, but I could keep going talking about books. And so for your nano prep, doing like what I did, reflecting about what are your favorite books, going ahead, writing your list down. So having it, start to see if you see any patterns here. And so if I just now look at my list, I'm just going to reflect out loud, and I can look like back here in this world. You know, I have YA, and I have children's books and middle grades. And I do have an adult book, but that middle grades and children's books, oh yeah, I knew it was my place anyway. Like I've been telling you guys, I've been saying it, like that's where I can just go and just grab hold of a book and just keep going and just get the next and the next. I can never get enough of children's books and middle grade. So I think that pattern shows through even with my top 10 books, especially when you've got, The Hobbit on there, you got Zora and Me, Sword Jumping Mouse, Beverly right here, you got Twilight series for YA, you've got A Walk to Remember is great for YA, Sweet Potato Jones, Fahrenheit is for YA. Like, I know it's for adults too, but like we read it in 9th grade, but I'm telling you guys, there's a pattern. And so if you ask me, well, why did you do Soul Food Book Club for YA and MG readers? It's because that's where I love to live. And it just makes perfect sense that if I'm going to have a book club, one, let's honor, Sweet Potato Jones, because Miss Sunshine needs some sun. And she needs to have the Soul Food restaurant up there. So it's called Soul Food Book Club from the Soul Food Restaurant and Sweet Potato Jones. So you can see why I'm going to be reading YA and MG. Now, my next read, what am I reading next? That is Trinity Row. And that was by Kelly Martin. So you can join the Soul Food Book Club with me. I'm on Facebook with that. So you can look up Soul Food Book Club for YA and MG readers at Soul Food Book Club. And you guys can go and join and check out what we're reading. I do have that on Goodreads as well, but I am just a little bit more active on Facebook. It's just where I tend to be more on the book club side of things. But that's my top 10. And now I'm going off for Nano Prep. And what I'm doing now for Nano Prep, I know that took me a long time to get to Nano Prep, but I want to go through and start making up the new list of books that I want to read. Now, I will do this on Pinterest. I will have a Pinterest board that says books I'm reading for 2020 and then books I'm going to read. Now, I can do all of that, That's fine. I'll probably do it anyway. I'm probably still going to put it on Pinterest. But right now, I want an actual just Google Doc of some books. So I'm actually going to make a list. And so I'm challenging you right now to create a reading list that you're going to be reading while you're writing Nano in the genre that you're going to be writing. So I'm going to a new Google Doc, and it's going to be called Books I'm Reading During NaNoWriMo 2020. And since I am doing the school series, and I need to be looking for books about werewolves, books about ghouls, spookies, fairies, children's series books. Other than Magic Treehouse, because Mary Pope Osborne, I love you so much, and I have read so many of your books, not only as a teacher in a classroom, but with my homeschool children. So thank you for the Magic Treehouse. Okay, because that's kind of my age. So my age of Ghoul School is kind of like Magic Treehouse, and I am ready to go find some comp titles. And hopefully I'll be able to find some. Now, I did read Franny K. Stein. So I'm still just going to put Franny on there because I love Franny K. Stein, and I know that there's other books in that series, and I have not read them. So that would be a good place for me to start, just because I know I like the first one. And I'm going to be going to Amazon, and I am looking for, oh yeah, I'm yawning, guys, it's getting late. And I am looking. I've already read Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I've already read The Last Kids on Earth. I'm calling out what's coming up. And those are kind of, those are kind of a little too much. They're too big. Grades 4. Yeah, these are middle grades. So I need to do book series for young. What book series are coming out? Of course, bestseller, Magic Treehouse, The Boxcar Children, The Last Kids on Earth. Already read you. The Borrowers. Oh, I love it. The Amelia Bedelia boxed set. Okay, if Amelia Bedelia, I just do not have that kind of wit. I love me some Amelia Bedelia. And so what I'm doing right now is just perusing through Amazon. Werewolves, what was it? Oh, that's it. So I read Lunch Walks Among Us, Attack of the 50-Foot Cupid, The Invisible Fran. I could get the complete set of Franny K. Stein, Mad Scientist. I love that. I've already read the scariest book in the whole entire world. Joy Aker, it's the bomb. But if that's too young, I want the books like Franny K. So I also, customers who viewed this also viewed, I'm going down at the bottom, Do you know who, there used to be, wasn't it like Bailey's Cool Kids or something like that? That's it. The Bailey's Cool Kids. I used to love those. Actually, there's more than 80 books. Characters: Dracula, Frankenstein, Victor Frankenstein, Merlin, Howie, Frankenstein. Yep. Werewolves Don't Go to Summer Camp. Actually, there was one about bubblegum. Somebody doesn't chew bubblegum. What was it? What was it about bubblegum? Vampires Don't Wear Polka Dots. I've read that one. Gosh, I used to love those. Wonder what the grade level is at. Let me go see if I can investigate that, because the hugely popular early chapter book series reemerges with a new look. Brand new eye-catching cover art brings a modern feel to the classic monster series for young children. Yeah, 3rd grade. Yeah, this is it. This is a great comp titles, and I love them, and I've read them all. Not all. I've not read all 80. I've read tons. But I can go back. It's been a while. And I would want to probably buy the one that is the werewolf. Gosh, I've read so many of these. Mermaids Don't Run Track. There's one for my friend Kim. Okay. The Adventures of the Bailey School Kids. So I will put that on my list just because I remembered how popular those used to be. But like I say, it's been a while. Okay, and Franny K. Stein. Now I'm going to go think about some more series books. Like, there was a series, and it was around a school. I'm trying to think of it. So I'm now going to get off Amazon a second. Easy Reader Chapter Books Scary. Neil Gaiman's Young Readers collection? No, they got the Graveyard Book on there. That's middle grades to me. I even think like 4th grade and up, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Goosebumps, great. 3rd grade and up. A lot of things that I'm finding are things that are like short campfire tales. I thought I just found one and I clicked it and it went somewhere else. So let me go see what this one is. Nighttime, Too Scared to Sleep. Oh, they have Dracula as a stepping stones now. I love those stepping stone readers. I'm on Monster Club, Hunters for Hire. That kind of reminds me, though, of The Last on Earth. I love grades 3 through 7. Yeah, that's way too much for me. Okay, Erie Elementary. Ooh, Erie Day. Mad Scientist Orson Erie. Oh, I found one. Okay, let me go look up this one. Erie Elementary series. Oh, this one is they have the box set. The School is Alive. Erie Elementary, Book 1. Oh, yes. You are going to be mine. I love the cover. Okay, this series is part of Scholastic's early chapter book line called Branches, which is aimed at newly independent readers. That's my book. With easy-to-read text, high-interest content, fast-paced plots, and illustrations on every page, these books will boost reading confidence and stamina. Branches books help readers grow. That makes me so happy to know. His name is Sam Graves, y'all. Okay, he discovers his elementary school is alive. Okay, I have found me a comp title right here. Doing some good old-fashioned research. Children's spine-chilling horror, children's chapter books, and children's school issues. And so that also gives me some great keywords. I'm going to go over. This one now is going to come to the top of my list. And I've got the link already saved. So This Hotel is Haunted from Geronimo Stilton. I have read some Geronimo books. Oh, wow. Halloween scares me, but I'm going to Egypt. I actually might want to read that, The Mummy with No Name, just because I love Egyptian the whole, yeah, Geronimo. Let me go look that one up. So I am getting, This Hotel is Haunted is book 50 of 77. Wow. Y'all, I want this for my life right here. Y'all hear me? Like, this is a dream. Look, Geronimo Stilton, number 46, The Haunted Castle. Oh my goodness. I don't know which one to read. Maybe that one. 46, and then the other one, what did I say it was? 50. Okay, so let me go to Haunted Castle. Okay, I'm going to read that one. And I'm thinking more than 18 million Geronimo Stilton books are in print. I think I would really like this one, The Haunted Castle, just so I can get me some Geronimo back into my life. Geronimo Stilton, A Haunted Castle, and now I'm going to just add the link there. And then I need to go get the other one from Geronimo Stilton, and it was This Hotel is Haunted, which is number 50. Hey, Karen, I am looking up any kind of easy reader chapter books that would be like a comp title for my upcoming series adventure for Nano. And I'm going to be working on book 2 and hopefully 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 5,000 word books. That's what I'm going for my 50,000 word count in Nano. Are you going to do Nano this year? I'm making a list out right now, but it's actually just books that I'm reading during Nano, and they're in my genre, and they're going to be fun for me to read. And This Hotel is Haunted is now going on my list. Now I'm going to go look up the grade levels for Geronimo Stilton, just to double check, but the Lexile levels for that. Yep, 3.1, perfect. Some of them say they can go up to 6.6. So I found a website that lists all of them with their Lexile levels. So I'm going to definitely keep this. I'm going to add this to my list. Oh, this is amazing. The Haunted Castle. Okay, so now it is a 4.1. And then this hotel is haunted as a 3.9. Okay, so Lexile levels for Geronimo. And now I'm going to go try to find the Lexile levels for the Adventures of the Bailey School Kids. This is such a good website. It's called Kids Book Series. I'm wondering if I can just find book series for ages 7 years and any. And I'm going to do an advanced search. Title search. No way. Oh, I love this website. Adventures of the Bailey School Kids. There we go. What is Bailey City Monsters? Now I've seen a new, the Bailey City Monsters series. There we go. There's actually another series from the Bailey School Kids that has, I guess, a branch off from that. And I learned the Bailey City Monsters. There we go. I got some more I can check out. And so let me just look up the Bailey School Kids now. Oh, Vampires Don't Wear Polka Dots was the #1 book from them. It's just saying ages 7 to 10. It's not giving me the Lexile levels. But what's really cool about this site, it says it sets of up to 51 books. But we know a while ago it said there were over 80 of the Bailey School Kids books. Okay, so let me go back. Let me see. I'm going to do keyword search. And I'm going to say scary. Black Lagoon Adventures. Oh, okay. I've done too many I've done too many Goosebumps last year. I've read tons of them. My Weird School Days. Oh, I remember these. Miss Mary is scary. They think that she might be a vampire. Oh my gosh. Okay. My Weird School Days, book 10, is Miss Mary is scary. I'm adding it. Okay. I forgot about that series. No, how dare you. I'm going to now go look up Black Lagoon Adventures because I have never seen this series before. A young boy's imagined school trip makes the real trip look mundane. Book 1. Each story can stand on its own, but the numbers, they're numbered because minor details carry over. And that's actually what I wanted to happen with mine. So when I started just writing chapter 1, it starts as the journal entry, Dear Me. And then he mentions the Ghoul Snatcher from book 1. But Vlad isn't going to constantly, it's not going to be dependent completely on it. But I really like that says, so, such as a new character being introduced in a book and reappearing in a later book when the readers are expected to have already met him or her. It's probably best to read these books in order, but it is not critical. I love it. So, the School Carnival from the Black Lagoon. Oh my gosh. The Spring Dance from the Black Lagoon. And it's a 2.4. So that one is going to be right at my Lexile level with a 560 and at my age group. And it's also something that's fitting it here. Let's see. Oh, I've never read 1980. Somebody just asked us over, because I'm dual streaming on Twitch and YouTube. Did somebody die at the end of 1984? My son's favorite, one of his favorite books that he read on his own is 1984. Yeah, he has his own list. I mentioned that earlier. I've not read it. He's like, Mama, why not? But yeah, that's on his list. I went through my list of my top books forever. I did mention 1984 on his. His was 1984, All Quiet on the Western Front, Animal Farm, Fahrenheit. Those are some off of his list. And now I am pulling up. I pulled up Weird School Days, and now I'm Black Lagoon Adventures. And so I am prepping for Nano and going ahead and getting my book list together because I love reading in the genre that I am writing in and talking about those books as I go. And I had never heard of the Black Lagoon Adventure series. So I really like this new website I found, Kids Book Series. It's awesome. Oh, they even have horror down at the bottom. I'm just going to go ahead and just click that. I put scary. Let's see what else. Oh, Camp Haunted Hills. But that's ages 8 to 12. So that's going to go push it a little further than where I want to go. So, yeah, like I do have one of those Vladimir Todd books, but I've never read it. It's on my shelf. Crepella von Cacklefur. Wait, that kind of looks like Geronimo Stilton in the corner. I've never even heard of this series. Let me go look this up on Amazon because I can't see the corner of this one on this website. Let me see. Yeah, it is. It's a Geronimo Stilton. Ooh, Return of Vampire. There is number 5, Fright Night. Oh my gosh, I used to love that old movie. Okay, I am pulling the Crepella von Cacklefur. That is a handful to say. Author is Geronimo Stilton. Yeah, I didn't know he had like another one. So I'm going to the official website. Wow. How cool is this website? Yeah. I am definitely getting Crepella. I've got a ton of books now that's on my list. Because they're series books, and I'll be able to read, like I'll do the author study like I did with Roald Dahl and like I did with Goosebumps with R.L. Stine. Okay. So I've got Erie Elementary, which is at the top of my list. And then I've got the Geronimo Stilton. I've got Black Lagoon Adventures and The Weird School Days and Bailey City Monsters. Then The Adventures of the Bailey School Kids and My Love of Franny K. Stein has to be on the list. So that is 7. That's all I need because they're series books. I could be reading tons of these. Okay, so my favorite book, number 1, I got the question. My favorite book is the Bible, but then I love The Hobbit and Fahrenheit 451. Those are kind of right after. And then A Walk to Remember. I actually went over my top 10 list. And my favorite children's book is this Native American legend from John Steptoe, and it's called The Story of Jumpy Mouse. So this is my favorite picture book. And then one of my favorite nonfiction is Born Standing Up by Steve Martin. I have like all of them behind me. My favorite author ever is Katie Camillo. And she wrote Because of Winn-Dixie, the 3 Rancheros series. I Love Beverly Right Here is my favorite. She wrote The Tiger Rising, The Tale of Despero. I could keep going. The Mercy Watson children's series with the pig who likes to take trips in the car. So, yeah, I love me Katie Camillo. That's my favorite author. And then my top 7 book of all time is Zora and Me. It's a wonderful middle grade series by Victoria Bond and T.R. Simon. And so The Summoner, book 3 of that series is my favorite. So, yeah, that's my favorite series book. Oh, my favorite passage in the Bible. My favorite verse in the Bible is Psalms 118. This is the day that the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And each day when I wake up, I really try to hone in that I know the Lord would want me to feel joy, have joy, and just embrace the new of the day. And I can find myself getting stressed out, super busy, just kind of overwhelmed. And sometimes I have to just kind of breathe and say, Lord, I need to find places where I can feel joy. And writing brings me a lot of joy. Spending time with my kids brings me tremendous joy. And reading, of course. I'm surrounded by books. But just finding the joy in the everyday. And I think that verse just tries to put that into my mind each day, that do things that bring you joy and honor the Lord at the same time. So my favorite book in the Bible is probably a tie between Mark. I love the book of Mark. I love the book of John. And I love Ruth. But I love the Bible as a whole. Well, all right, guys. It is 11 o'clock here, and that means I've got to say goodbye because I have to get up super early and then go teach. And I'm sorry I streamed so late this evening, but we did another stream on YouTube earlier about book launches, and you guys can go and check that out with my friend Michelle DeRosier. Her channel is just getting started over on YouTube, so I'd love it if you guys could go and subscribe to her. She's awesome, and she is writing sweet romances, and she's going to have her book published in 2021. So we were talking about book launches. And my children's book, My Fly Felix and Me, is going to be launching on January the 1st. So I'm in the middle of my launch plan, and she is months way months out in hers, and we came together to share some tips and some things to consider when you are getting ready to launch your book. So that's what our session was about tonight. And so I had to cut homeschool kind of in the middle and then finish up and then tried to jump back on here tonight and go over my top 10 favorite book list of all time. And I want to encourage you to go and make your own top 10 favorite books. You can blog about them. You can share them with your audiences. People can kind of get to know you a little bit better by the books that you're reading. Then you can actually start seeing the patterns. And that's what I wanted to talk with you guys about tonight because of Nano, with it coming up. And you guys are going to be joining me for NaNoWriMo, and you're going to be writing 50,000 words. I know you can do it. So what are you going to write about? Well, what are your favorite genres to read? What are things that you love? And what is it about it that you love? Like, I love the language in Fahrenheit. I love the way that Ray Bradbury creates the tension, even with the way he uses fragments and just short punches. Like, I love so much about the way that Bradbury writes, even more so than just the story itself, but I love his style. So going back and looking at like some of my favorite books kind of reminds me of things that I navigate to as a reader. But then, I already know I'm going to be working on book 2 of Ghoul School. So then I know that I've got to start building a new reader list. And I've got to go out and find comp titles for the books that I'm working on. So I might as well read in my genre. And so while I was live tonight, I just found 7 new book series. There's a couple of them that I knew just from teaching elementary school long ago. I've been teaching high school since 2012. So that lets you guys know that it's been a while since I've taught elementary school. But some of these are just tried and true book series. And I want you guys to go and look up books, find your comp in the genre, and really just, push yourself to find time to read while you're writing in Nano. I know that's a lot. Even if you just get one book that you've completed in the month of November, that is great. You'll have one more book that you've got on your list. So if a sheep loses its path with the other sheep, then that means that sheep is worth saving. And so if you have to leave those sheep and you have to go and quickly gather that sheep and bring them back into the herd, then you need to understand that it is the lost sheep that you need to be crying out to, that you need to be trying to say, hey, I'm here, come back. And Jesus will take that lost sheep right back. So, call on the name of the Lord and you shall be saved. And then if you see people that may be going astray, then they could be possibly one of those lost sheep right now, and you could lead them to Jesus. And so your other sheep, they're all hanging out and they're all doing good. But if you've got a brother, you've got a friend who might be losing their steps, might be losing their way, you can help guide them back. So I hope that you guys have a wonderful evening, and I will see you guys later. All right, bye.